Hey guys, Ray Spray Wash Pro. Hope everybody's doing great today. Going to bring you a little tutorial on cleaning solar panels today. Now, solar panels are really kind of interesting. I've done a fair amount of research on this and trying to find the proper methodology for cleaning it. One of the things that I found that really blows my mind is that it seems like it's the same information parroted just literally everywhere out there. Like somebody wrote a blog once or wrote some instructions once and then just passed it out everywhere, and everybody's just kind of copied them throughout the years on there. And they all really say the same thing. For the most part, solar panels don't need cleaning. And then if you do need cleaning, a lot of time just the rain will clean them off. And if the rain doesn't clean them off, then dish soap or some type of mild detergent and water applied with a soft sponge or cloth is the safest and easiest way to do that. Whatever you do, don't use metal on there. I mean, it's really... A lot of it's very much common sense, but it's really kind of funny how the information is just the same on every site, which leads me to believe that some solar manufacturer went out there and put this information out, and then everybody went and just copied them. There are just dozens and dozens of different solar panel manufacturers. Also, I've noticed some of the big guys are getting into it. Samsung's getting into it. LG is getting into it as well. Most of the actual manufacturer's specs, and let me back up 1 second. There's a ton of places out there offering solar panel cleaning and a ton of information out there on Google about how to do it yourself. There's been a few studies on there. So Google did a study on the need to clean it. They found that tilted panels don't require cleaning as much as flat panels. This was confirmed by another study of engineers at the University of California, San Diego, that a minimum 5-degree angle helped debris slide off. They found that normal debris such as dust, dirt, pollen have minimal effect on efficiency. Less than 0.05%, that's 0.05% efficiency is lost on average. For a homeowner, that adds up to a savings of about $20 a year cleaning their solar panels halfway through the summer. So what they say is you're going to spend more cleaning your solar panels than you are actually saving in energy efficiency. But the study goes on further to say that if you live in places with a lot of dust storms or downwind from highways or agricultural fields, it might actually generate enough grime to justify a cleaning. Now, my market and a lot of you guys that are in the south and on the eastern seaboard, we're also dealing with a biofilm growing on that. And the biofilm doesn't wash off with rain. It's not like the Arizona or the Nevadas where they get enough rain to every now and then clean them off. We get a funk growing on there, and the EPA actually calls this funk a biofilm. I love the terminology. I'm going to start using that term a lot more because it's not just Gliocapsa magma. It's not just algae. It's not just mold. It's biofilm. So really kind of cool thing. I would recommend even, using that terminology to your customers because it is an EPA recognized term, biofilm. Anyhow, I'm digressing a little bit. But on these solar panels, this biofilm starts growing in there and it's black, and you'll see some from my photographs and videos that I do on these. I mean, I'm really having to get in there and scrub it. Scrub it to penetrate that biofilm where we can actually see the solar panel again. Now, none of the manufacturers that I've read have disallowed chlorine. They've not disallowed bleach. They've said no harsh cleaners. Don't use anything that scratches. Water will probably clean them okay. But nowhere has it says do not use SH on there. It says do not use harsh cleaners. But I'll submit to you that a 10% mixture of SH is really not a harsh cleaner. I have seen them say do not use acids on there. I have actually seen the manufacturers go out and say don't use acids. Also, keep in mind too, the solar panel field is very volatile. A bunch of them popped up during the Obama presidency whenever they were tossing out grants left and right for green energy. A lot of those places, Solyndra being the most famous one, are now out of business as well. So lots of different manufacturers, unlike shingle roofs where you have, GAF, Elk, just one or two manufacturers of that. The solar panels are kind of like the metal roofs in that there's just a ton of information, a ton of different manufacturers out there that are constantly coming and going. So a little bit tough to find the information on how to clean that. But I'm going to start our other part of the video with the photographs on here so you can actually see how we cleaned these solar panels that have a heavy biofilm on there. And I'll go through our methodology of cleaning that. All right, so here's the solar panels in question in this HOA project. I believe we had bid on 6 buildings. I think there wound up being 8, so we adjusted our bid on that. You can see the biofilm that I was speaking about. I mean, there is a hard, nasty funk that is just literally baked on these solar panels on here. Coming up here, you'll see me actually, rubbing it and scrubbing it off with my fingertip on there. It would be very hard to get just a brush and water with enough force on there to get this to come off. So that's where we start, bringing in some detergents on this project to help us speed this process along. Now, our detergent blend wound up being secret agent, a little bit of secret agent, and of course bleach. Used about a 10% by volume bleach, 10% of a 12.5% solution. Basically what we would call a strong house wash mix. I applied that with a booster pump. I rinsed this with a booster pump. You could do this with an air diaphragm pump. You could, if you wanted to, apply this with a 12 volt as well on here, just as long as you got it up there. I expect you could even apply this as a strong downstream mixture and have enough that would work on here. Now, I mentioned the downstreamer being able to use that, but one thing I want to point out is that in several of the cleaning instructions, it specifically forbade the use of a pressure washer. Now, I know and you know that we're not going to get up there and pressure wash, and I'm doing air quotes around that we're professional enough. We're going to use the right tips on there. We're not going to be out there and blasting that thing at 2500 psi. That is not the proper way to clean it. However, using the booster or using an air pump or even a 12 volt and a garden hose to rinse, I could look at the people in their eyes and say, no, Mr. Property Manager, I did not use a pressure washer at all on this project per the manufacturer's instructions. We simply, we put a little cool water on here to help cool them down. Little advice, if you can do this early in the morning, it's a lot easier. We have read reports of solar panels shattering whenever cool water gets sprayed on them in the direct afternoon sun because they get incredibly hot. So we attacked this project in the morning between 8:30 and I believe 11 o'clock or so, and we were done. Actually cleaned up incredibly fast. Now we soaped this down with a house mix. You can see there on the edges as the biofilm starts to die, it just rinses off really easily for the most part. We took a very soft bristle brush and did a little scrubbing while we were up there as well. Just a gentle scrub down on some of the metal frames, on some of the solar panels where it was the worst. You can see right here, it just, not putting hardly any pressure on that whatsoever. Probably could have jetted it off, but we had the brush up there, so why not do it? I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about safety on here. Please, if you have your crews up there or if you're up there, tie off whenever you're on this roof. It's not a regular shingle roof. You're dealing with things you could trip over. You're moving around in strange angles, so you want to take that extra precaution of actually tying off up there. We actually used the frame that the solar panels were bolted to the roof with to wrap our as our tie-off point. And we didn't even have to move the tie-off point on any roof on here. The way this was set up, just one tie-off installation per roof was all we needed. We had a long enough lead rope where we could move around comfortably up there. All in all, it was really kind of a pretty simple project out there. Wound up being extremely profitable for us. I was amazed at how easy they cleaned up. One of the things I will say, though, is if a lot of this will clean up with just spraying and rinsing. However, if you use a brush on there at any part of the solar panel, be prepared to brush the whole panel. We did a couple of these where we just brushed the bottom. It looked great, but then whenever the sun dried it, you could actually see that the bottoms were cleaner than the tops were. So we went back and rebrushed those panels to get rid of the brush marks on there. So I would look at your brushing as either an all or none type choice on there. Don't try to brush half a solar panel. Go ahead and brush the whole solar panel. All right, I'm going to get into pricing a little bit on here. Now again, my prices might not be what your prices are whatsoever. I truly believe that pricing is extremely regional out there. I can't tell you what to charge. You may not be able to get what I get, and vice versa. I'm in Florida. My stuff gets a little bit lower just by design and competition out here, and I get to work 12 months out of the year. Here's our House Call Pro. It's done. Service date, it's been done. We charged on here $1,480 for those solar panels. That was, the invoice says 6 buildings. It wound up being 8 buildings. I had approval. I had a PO on here, so I wasn't going to go and redo that. I may have left a little bit of money on the table. I really don't mind. It's a property manager that sends me a ton of work, so I'm good with that. The solar panel part of this project for accessing, the 8 buildings and scrubbing them down like we did took us 3 to 4 hours on there. So $1,500 in 4 hours. I'll take that, any day of the week. Pretty darn good money right there. Let's see here. You would think that my math skills would be a little bit better. It's $3.75 an hour on there. So I'm thrilled with that using a house wash mix. So good on us. Let's see. They scrub off really, really easily. Just light pressure on there. I guess the key points that I want to go back on are if you're going to scrub a panel, scrub the whole panel. Don't just scrub the low part of it down there, because once it dries, you will see a little bit of a film up there on the top area where you didn't scrub. So either scrub all of it or scrub none of it. I wouldn't use more than a house mix on there. Be prepared to scrub in some of the heaviest areas out there. We also did use Agent Halt at the end, put just a nice little final rinse on there, and then rinse most of it off just so I could say, hey, we neutralized it. In case anything was ever said about, you used bleach on this, we didn't want bleach to be used. Hey, I neutralized it. Something else that I have noticed, almost every solar panel that I have found out there, the manufacturers warranty the panels for 10 years. Do your own private research on this, but I have not found a manufacturer's warranty that extends past 10 years on that. So with that in mind, let your conscience be your guide there. I don't know if I'd want to be cleaning any brand new solar panels like that had that film on it. I also don't know if any brand new solar panels would develop that kind of biofilm growing on there either. So I think that 10-year mark is pretty key right there, because they're out of warranty. I can't have a manufacturer come back and say, well, you ruined these, and so we're voiding the warranty. The warranty's already, expired on that. That's really all I got on there. Think it's a fantastic job to do. Go out there and jump on it. Don't be scared. I've talked to a lot of other cleaners in other areas when I was researching this. Some people will just use pure water, water-fed pole and a brush. That works for a lot of people out here. Obviously, the ones that I showed you in this project would have been way past water-fed pole and a brush. That needed a little extra loving on there. But water-fed pole and a brush certainly works for just most of them. Would just come off just easy, especially if you were in a dusty area or an area that didn't have that kind of biological growth. Also keep in mind those frames around there are metal, so I would be real scared about using any kind of acid. In fact, some of the manufacturers specifically forbade acid on their solar panels. I would also be real careful on any caustic degreasers on there, because sometimes we've seen that a caustic react with a metal on there and turn that a black color. So try water first, water and soap, and then water, soap, and light bleach as the final step on there. And I bet you're going to get great results on that. So consider adding on solar panel cleaning as a service. Don't be scared of doing them. Thanks a lot. Hey, and as always, verify all this information. I'll never, sit here and give you incorrect information that I know because I've gone out and tried to verify it. But the internet is your friend. Get out there and pull these manufacturer specs yourself so you can arm yourself whenever you're talking to your customers. Because the smarter you are, the smarter you can make them. And I guarantee you a lot of your competition is not going to these extra steps and actually learning how to do stuff. That's why we see in these groups all the time, everybody talks about spraying 50% bleach on stuff, or they have no clue what percentage mix they're spraying on things. My problem with downstreaming a lot. Well, I take a jug, I put bleach in it, and I have no idea how much hose I have put out, and I don't know what the ratio of my downstreamer is, and I killed all these plants. Can you help me? And well, you have no idea what you're spraying on there. So I think we ought to be real smart about what we're spraying. But thanks for listening, guys. Hey, wash on. Have an awesome day, and get out there and find you some cool projects to do.